What is up, gangsters and gamer girls? Gangsters and gamer girls, welcome to another Draft League. You do not understand how much effort I just had to go through to get this video up. I have been working here for hours because my headphones broke. I tried different headphones. Bluetooth headphones apparently don't work with OBS. I couldn't figure out why. It literally everything under the sun was going wrong. And I'm here hours later still trying to get this video out because I am your gamer guy and you guys are my gamer girls, and we are freaking going to get this draft analysis done. Shout out to Hoops and Hip Hop for this Hearthroom City Hearthroom, I don't know. City, it's probably Heart Home. It's spelled City Remix. I have got to tell you about. Alright, I'm going to go through my team first individually with some pictures, a little bit more detail, and then I will just go through and talk about everybody's team a little bit. But I just wanted to talk about Tapu Lele and the boys. You know, I'm already giving away my my first pick, but we got Tapu Lele and the boys coming here. So we decided to hashtag free Tapu Lele. I was kind of against it, but I told everybody well, actually, I was going to go with Mega Scissor, but somebody sniped me. So I told everybody, alright, I was against freeing Lele, so I'm going to draft Size Spam and see how you guys like building against it. And I think it's going to be really difficult, especially without Pursuit. This is Gen 8. Oh, I should probably talk a little bit about the league. This is the ISL. I do not know what that stands for. International something league. That actually fits. So we have Gen 8 mechanics, Gen 8 moves, but it's national decks. So as you can see, I have Tapu Lele, but like moves like Pursuit are banned and Hidden Power. So if a move was deleted, it is not in this draft league. But otherwise, like all the extra TRs and stuff. So if you drafted Zapdos and you got that Hot Weather Ball TR, then you can be dropping like 100 base power, big old water bombs in the rain and hitting 100% hurricanes and thunders and be totally broken. That is a lot in this league. So I think that's everything about it. I think that's everything. Anyway, back to my team. Tapu Lele. So I wanted Size Spam. So what's important for Size Spam? Psychic terrain and a good psychic type. I don't want Indeedee. We are not drafting Indeedee on this team. We're drafting Tapu Lele, the pinnacle of psychic terrain setters out of the two. But Tapu Lele is super strong, totally broken. Basically has, especially in draft, if your one psychic check is like, well, it has Moonblast for if you're a dark type, and if your psychic check is like Corviknight, Tapu Lele gets Thunderbolt. So you Calm Mind and then you Thunderbolt on the next turn, and all you need is like a little bit of chip, and then he just totally sweeps through teams. If you play HO, you run Scarf Lele and it just burns through HO. If you play Fat, you can just run Choice Specs. So I'm looking forward to using Tapu Lele. And the other important on Size Spam is my boy Megazam. They voted to ban Nasty Plot on Megazam, so no nasty plotting for me, but that's okay because we still get Calm Mind, we get Recover, we get Psy Shock, we get Shadow Ball, we have 150 base speed, which is literally like blazing fast. Like, I'm Lambo Pokemon, but this is freaking like NASCAR the Alakazam, okay? This is bonkers speed, bonkers power, extremely weak, so we gotta watch out for Scarfers. But no priority moves because Psychic Terrain, it was nerfed to 1.3, and it can also be defogged, but it's going to be powerful. It's going to be the move. But as you can tell, we lose to like Scarf Shadow Ball right now, and I really wanted some good Ghost switch-ins. So, you know, I gotta get my boy Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz was, I think, tier 3. They tried to put him in tier 4. I talked him down to tier 3. I really did not want to draft Mandibuzz, but then I realized, like, okay, we lose to Scarf Shadow Ball, so I really need something to switch into, like, ghost type attacks and also dark type attacks. Scarf Dark Pulse also defeats us, and I also wanted something to play with the hazard, or yeah, the hazard game. So Defogger, we don't lose to Scarf Shadow Ball, we don't lose to Scarf Dark Pulse. Those were the three main reasons that I picked Mandibuzz third. And he just has really good synergy for like not getting swept. So that's the whole reason behind Mandibuzz. Next, this was kind of a more fun pick. I never drafted Suicune. I've never, like, in any leagues, I've never drafted Suicune. But Suicune is just another, like, calm mind setter. And as you can see, we got a lot of strong special attackers here, so, like, people are going to start running Spadef teams versus me, so I was like, I knew I needed to do, something with the physical side of the spectrum, later, but this is really cool. We got Suicune. Every team wants a bulky water type in general, in my opinion. In draft, I generally think you should get a bulky water type. I thought Suicune is a great bulky water type. I'm not going to say it has great synergy with the team so far, but I mean, it does what it does, you know? We're looking kind of weak to Thunderbolt right now, though, so we need to do something about that, but not yet, because first thing we do, I wanted to get my boy. He was in tier 5. Don't underrate my boy Alolan Golem like that. Are you serious? This is freaking Alolan Golem. Look at him, dude. He's got like a magnet on top of his body and a sick beard. I got my quarantine beard. Alolan Golem has his quarantine beard, alright? And he is dope. The reason we get Alolan Golem is we need Chip on the steel types so that we can just spam Psyshock and like smash everything with the Psy spam. And you can do that with like Magneton or Magnezone, but why wouldn't you do it with a Alolan Golem? He's a tier 5. He traps it, he traps like Celesteela, you go, you wild charge, and bing bong, ping pow. Criminally underrated in my opinion. I think it should be at least a tier 4 just because Magnet Pool is such a strong ability, and especially with Psychic when there's no pursuit. I think that's just a really good offensive synergy, and this is way more offensive of a team than I normally draft. I usually draft like really just fat teams, so I needed to pick up a couple more defensive mons just to feel a little more comfortable, but I think I'm going to have to end up playing a little more offensive in this league based on the team that I drafted. So gonna have to make plays, can't just out-fat the opponent. But I think Alolan Golem really helps make that because I don't have to make nearly as many plays when Golem can trap a steel type. Or if they run Shed Shell, then that's great because then they do not switch into Psyshocks because they don't have their leftovers recovery. I get Rocks up, and then A plus Ping Pong Pow. I was weak to Electric, and I guess Alolan Golem kind of helps that, but that is not the point of Alolan Golem. It's purely to catch that. I gotta get my boy Piloswine. Every league I can get Piloswine, I'm always drafting Piloswine. I'm always getting him semi-early in the draft, way earlier than most other people would usually get him. The people that have played with me in this league before know I love Piloswine, so sometimes people try to snipe me. Piloswine is, again, like always, he's always putting in the work. He's always doing the most. You know, he is... I played a team once where I had like full Spadef Piloswine to take like a Hydro Pump from Kingdra in the Rain or something. It was literally like insane. Like, I can't remember if that's the exact calc, but he's literally just so bulky with Eviolite and sets the rocks like every time. Roars people out, Toxics. If you get him Wish support, and I always draft a Wisher in draft. I think you always, well, don't think you always need a Wisher, but I'm personally a fan of always getting Wish support in draft. Piloswine. My boy is always putting in the work. This mon, great draft mon. You should always get him in draft league if you can. Great electric resist for, sorry if that was loud, for Mandibuzz and Suicune. Just all around great. Next, I needed a steel type Fortress. I hate Fortress. I really don't like Fortress. This is another mon. There were two mons that I said I would. I might have actually talked this one down as well. And I did not plan. I swear I did not plan on drafting Fortress. I did not. originally plan on drafting Manabuzz. I did not want either of these mons because I wanted to draft Mega Scissor, Bulky Rain, but that did not happen. So they forced my hand by sniping me like second or third pick. But why did I get Fortress? One, I needed a Steel type. Two, I wanted Spikes, and especially Toxic Spikes support. So you see Suicune. Suicune is great at, if you run Vincune, which is the Suicune that has Calm Mind, Scald, Protect, and Sub. And it's got Pressure. It pressure stalls, so you sub and you protect. If you can have those Toxic Spikes up, you Toxic something, something gets poisoned on the way in, and then stall out with Suicune, and Suicune just like tears through teams on its own. So the thing I really like about Suicune is you have to really focus on prepping for Suicune. Thing I like about Fortress is he puts up all these hazards, so you really have to think about prepping for all these hazards. And then if you're prepping for all these things, how are you going to prep for Psy Spam? Like, Psy Spam is just on its own just stupid strong. And I think this is just, I think the hazard game it will have is going to be very helpful. Last thing I really like about Fortress, very slow ult switch. So I can get Tapu Lele in for free against a lot of mons because I bring Fortress in, I Volt Switch after my opponent already does the move, so they either switch or they attack Fortress. I Volt Switch out, I get in Tapu Lele for free, I don't have to risk it for the rest of the game. I can keep up my Psychic Terrain better, and I have more powerful presence. Next, I had the points for a tier 1 because I had not had any of my free picks yet. It's one of those leagues where you get like 6 free mons or something, and then you get 400 points to draft. So I was between Hawlucha and I was thinking Buzzwole. I really wanted a physical attacker and a fighting type, because fighting type really takes advantage of the dark pulses that people are probably going to against me. So this will give a good opportunity for a strong fighting type to get in. And the other thing that's great is Scarf Shadow Ball is really good against me. And so Como has Bulletproof. It's also got fighting type. It's also extremely bulky. It can run a variety of sets. It has Flamethrower. It's got Sub Belly Drum. It has Dragon Dance. It has its own setup move. It takes a third of its HP this gen and gets +1 in every stat with Throat Spray as well, which will give it to +2. It can be bulky Stealth Rocker. Like, Como has so many sets that it can run, and it just has really good synergy. And it's got a little bit, I don't want to say this is like a Fairy Dragon, like a Dream Core. Dream Core is Fairy Dragon Steel. I don't want to say this is like a very good Dream Core. Chris, Como, and Tapu Lele. Spoiler alert, I do draft another Fairy type later that completes the Dream Core a little bit better than Tapu Lele would. None of them have like really good recovery moves, so, but at least they can still switch into each other's threats. And Fortress is super bulky, Como is super bulky. They also both get Body Press this generation, which is really makes Fortress a lot less passive, which is 1 point. But the point is, I need to kind of round out that core a little bit more with some support in a Fairy type, and it's not Aromatisse, so I already know what it is. Talk about it later. Next time. I wanted another thing that can take Thunderbolts, because just having Piloswine is not super sustainable switching into Thunderbolts. I also wanted a really strong physical attacker. I also really wanted a Fire type. And then finally, I think another bug switching would be good for U-turns and stuff. Even though we have Fortress and Como to resist bug, I think having another bug resist is good because there's a lot of U-turn around. So Marowak, again, sets rocks, takes U-turns, takes Volt switches, physical attacker, Fire type, Ghost Spam as well. I don't think Ghost Spam is I don't think it has like super great offensive synergy with Psychic type. I haven't thought about it too much though. Anyway, I think for those reasons, I thought it fit the team well, and I'm excited to play with because I haven't Alolan Marowak. I got all the Alolan mods on my team because I think, and that's the reason why. That's it. That's it. Two more mods, and then I'll speed through and start talking about other people's teams. Fairy type and another Shadow Ball switching because Alolan's also allergic to Shadow Ball. And we got that big time Wigglytuff, also sets rocks. He got that competitive ability. You know, sometimes Wigglytuff being out here and just sweeping teams, honestly. Like, you hate to admit it, but you might get swept by a Wigglytuff, you know? Send out your Intimidate mod. Wigglytuff, Calm Minds. And I think it gets Calm Mind, I don't know. It doesn't even need it. Sometimes it just come out, it's fat, you know, Wish, it Protect, it attack, but it also protect, also pass. Wigglytuff, another tier 5 mon, I believe. Always super underrated. Great draft pick. I actually wanted Licky in this spot, to be honest, because Licky is one of the greatest draft mons of all time. I'm telling you, listen to these secrets. These are top tier, low tiers. So like these are always low tier in draft, but they're always extremely helpful for your team. Licky is usually incredible in draft. Huge move pool, knockoff support. The thing that I like about Licky is pure normal type, and bulkier than Wigglytuff. The downside of Licky compared to Wigglytuff is Licky doesn't set up rocks. Wigglytuff can't run like physical sets or anything though, and Wigglytuff I think gets Seismic Toss still. I don't know. I tend to prefer Licky, but Wigglytuff still goat mine. And Licky was tier 4, Wigglytuff tier 5, so you know it worked out in the end. So I could get a tier 4 mon, and I've got a water type and a fire type, but I don't have a grass type. And this again, this is not a very good fire water grass core. This is not a defensive fire water grass core, but at least they can sort of help switching into to each other's attacks. This will help me not get swept by water, because right now my only water resists are Suicune and Como, and we don't have hidden power, so I can't run like hidden power electric on Suicune. So this is my best option against water types, and if that doesn't look good throughout the season, I might have to get like another bulkier grass type, but I really like Sceptile because he can run Psychic Seed and Psychic Terrain, and he gets the Unburden boost. He can Swords Dance and then maybe take advantage of a team offensively. I think he can also like Sub-Seed if I to. He's fat. I believe he gets Leech Seed. I can't imagine he doesn't. These most grass types do. Leech Seed, Sub-Seed with Toxic Spikes. Yeah, like, again, if I can get the Toxic Spikes up, get the Hazards up, there are some cool things. It depends on what team you're facing, but there's a lot of cool things that Sceptile can do. And it's just kind of a low tier mon that you kind of have to prepare for. Like, you need something so that Sceptile doesn't sweep you. But it's kind of frustrating because like Sceptile's not supposed to be a top tier threat, so why do I have to prepare for it? And again, it gets synergy with Alolan Golem, because Alolan Golem can kind of trap some of the things that might give Sceptile problems, and the ability to sweep. So I called this GOAT team. It's not exactly a GOAT team, but I think it will be fun. I do think that this is a squad that can win a championship, and excited to start actually building this, because it's all is fun in games until you start building, and then oh, I lose to this, you start playing people's teams in the league, you kind of get a feel of how good your team's going to do. But I'm excited to use this because I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that I have a lot of offensive options. I think I have to play a more aggressive playstyle than I am used to, but I think I'll pull through it. I don't think Wigglytuff gets teleport, but there are a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon that can teleport. That would be a lot. Anyway, on to everybody else's team. Gonna go through and just talk about everybody else's team. Excuse me, I fix what's going on with that. Sorry, I needed to shift the screen if you just saw that sliding. Okay. Looking at some people's teams, we're going to start with the Shy Scythers here. We are seeing really good BO in my opinion. I really like his team. As far as, I think, yeah, I think it's really just good in general. He has some good HO options. He's got really good pivots in Electros and Incineroar, but then he's got like a really good bulky core in Gliscor Toxapex that each other's weaknesses really well. And then Incineroar, Toxapex, and Serena, very bulky core. One bad thing, actually no, he has Wish Pass to Incineroar. Honestly, it's one of those teams where you look at, looking at this right now, it's the first team I've looked at, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, he drafted a really good team. He drafted really well, drafted a good team. Could be one of the best teams in the league. Gonna have to see how he plays. I took over his team last season. It's 2-1, so he was either 2-1 or 3-1. Anyway, I went undefeated in that league the rest of the time. But that's besides the point. Anyway, so he had a winning record, and the way he drafted, I assume he's a good coach as well. Frostlass lead, Serena spins, and then run like Mega Lopunny, Jirachi, Togekiss. That could function as HO against some team. But really what I see is BO, and I think it smells weird. Bulky offense, and I think it's a really good team, to be honest. Next, big ol' Kersey with the California Cinder Ace. Scizor, Bulu, and Goodra. That is, Scizor, Bulu, Goodra, and Hydreigon, I think is his main core. I think he was originally going for Hydreigon, but then he drafted Double Dragon, which gives him a little more options. Very, very difficult core to break. He has some Alolan Persian. Love that mon. Think it's very underrated. You can come out Parting Shot, come out Foul Play. It gets knockoff. Just really good mon in general. I think where Kersey's team struggles the most, and I do think this is going to be a problem for him, is just the hazard game. As far as hazards, I think the only thing that can really set it up is Rhydon and Lycanroc or Stealth Rock. I don't see any other hazards on his team. So I think although he's got a hard core to break, he can't easily apply hazard pressure, so you can kind of switch around on his team pretty easily. I don't think this is a bad team, but I think he could definitely get more reliable rockers, maybe change Slowking, because he's got like Slowking and Cresselia. I'm not saying it's like bad to have both of those on a team, but I think like could have a better offensive hazard presence. I think he's got options for defog. He's got Scizor and Rotom, and Hydreigon also gets it. But the other thing is, like, do you really want those mons defogging? I don't. Like, Rotom I think you would have defog on, but like you don't really want your Mega Scizor in draft to be relegated to defogging against some teams. So I think he could try to make some trades to up the hazard game, in my opinion. But all in all, I think it's decent. I think it's definitely workable, and I think it'll go against a lot of teams. I think Kersey's also a pretty good coach, very creative. So I think he will do well in the season in general. But I think my advice to him would be to do some trades to get a better hazard game. Okay, moving to San Francisco Arcaniners. I guess that's the San Francisco 49ers. Let's take a look at this team. Dredagon can set rocks. Victini is always very scary in draft. It's got lots of crazy sets. Got very good offensive mods. The Tapu Koko Superior is pretty good offensive presence, and then the Electric Terrain also powers up Victini's Bolt Strike, I think is that move. A lot of good offensive mons. Gligar is very good in the hazard game, I believe. It's Cavalier, so set rocks. Vaporeon can Wish Pass. This is a... I would describe this team as a... Again, I think it's BO. I would say it's a more offensively centered BO. So like if you had a spectrum of like balance to HO, I would say this is on the more offensive side of BO. A little less bulky, but definitely has good pivots in like Muck. Unfortunately, Muck's an amazing mod, but it lost Pursuit, which was like its best niche. But I still think it's really good mon. Curse sets are incredible. Lots of good mons. Gligar's a really good tier 4, especially without HP Ice. So I think this will... I think this can do well. But... trying to think of like the defensive synergy. So... Bolt Beam messes up this team pretty bad. You can run specially defensive Kangaskhan though. So, but if they chip down your Kangaskhan, then Bolt Beam do pretty well, especially because you give them Electric Terrain. I think what this is going to have to do, I think if you play a offensive playstyle and deny your opponent momentum to do things, I think you can go with this team. But I think you really have to play a playstyle that is heavy on applying so much offensive pressure that your opponent doesn't have the chance to attack back. Is this screen weird? Screen is... I don't think this is weird. Okay, never mind. I'm a fool. Never mind, don't listen to me. Yeah, so I think he's going to really have to apply offensive pressure if he wants to win games. Because if he is reacting rather than driving the pace of the game, this is a team that will absolutely just get run over by an opponent's team. Especially with... he has pretty decent U-turn options. Like, I think Gligar gets U-turn, Victini, I think Yanmega probably gets U-turn, and Tapu Koko gets U-turn also. But I think he's going to have to focus more applying offensive pressure throughout the season because I don't think he has incredible defensive options. Yes, he is pretty good. Gligar, Kangaskhan, and Vaporeon can wall out a lot on their own, honestly, and together. But I think he has to play offensive because I think those mons also just steal your own momentum. Anyway, next team. Dublin Drifloons. Okay, what's going on? I don't want this video to be like too much over an hour, so I hope this is just an hour, so I'm going to try to speed up a little bit. Dublin Drifloons, we got Garchomp, Melmetal, Breloons, very offensive team, Mesprit lead, Sandaconda, Ninjask. Okay, you can Baton Pass, Speed, you can Baton Pass Substitute. These are individual. You can Baton Pass Speed, or you can Baton Pass Substitute, or you can Baton Pass other stats. But you cannot Baton Pass them together. They cannot. These are 3 separate entities. They can't go together. So that I bring that up because of Ninjask. So this is Chansey offense. I see Chansey offense. I was looking down this list and then I was like, okay. Chansey Mantine, so Mantine can defog, Chansey can set rocks, but they're both very good special walls. Melmetal's a good physical wall, but I guess walling is not what this team is supposed to do. This is supposed to apply offensive pressure. Again, this is a offensive team. So, and then I would say offensive team, and then Chansey's just supposed to be their catch-all. if you want to do offensive team plus Chansey's catch-all, I feel like there are some weird mons on this team. I don't know. I think this can be very creative, and I think it's got some busted mons that will be able to smash their opponent's team. Katarine is very powerful. It can keep hazards off your side pretty well. It can Ninjas can baton pass speed into something like Melmetal, but Melmetal's so slow that you'll probably have to get a couple of speed boosts. Opponent can just bring a Roar or something, or if they have a Rock Blast mon, that can kind of put a damper on that strategy. But Melmetal is so busted that it's super hard to switch into. I don't see like a super coherent strategy, because then you have like Zoroark, Breloom. I think if you're creative and you outplay your opponent, obviously with any team, if you're creative and you outplay your opponent, yes, but I don't love the cohesion. I can see Melmetal switch into physical attacks. Yeah, and if it's like a fighting type move, you bring in Katarine. If it's ground or fire, you have your switch. So I mean, there's some switching synergy, but I feel like, okay, I feel some type of way about this team. I think there's gonna be dead weight mods on this team, given the playstyle. I think you will have some successes and you will be able to do pretty well, but I think there are going to be some dead weight mons and some mons that shine through. So I mean, maybe use your trades throughout the season when the dead weight mons start showing up. That would be my advice, I think. Let's see, next, Smelly Sunflora. Okay, this is BO again. This is another BO team, but this is especially one because you don't have many like recovery options, but you have like really good pivots. Togedemaru is good for you turning out into your other mons can switch into electric type attacks. Tangrowth, incredible, like one of the best pivots out there. Mamoswine, incredible wall breaker. He has decent options for rocks with Mamoswine and Bronzong that don't necessarily cover each other's weaknesses, but I think between those two you will get your rocks up. He has Tapu Fini to set Misty Terrain for Gyarados to set up in Sweet. Could also run bulky Gyarados. I also see Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl was small there, that was difficult. Grimmsnarl has great screen support. Incredible mods to take advantage of screens other than, say, Gyarados. Hitmonlee sort of can. And then Mamoswine doesn't really have a boosting move, but it has such good coverage that it can get things done. Also has Weezing for Toxic Spikes, and I don't know if regular Weezing gets defogging. Weezing does now, but I think it's an interesting team. I like the Finny, Arcanine, Tangrowth squad. That's pretty good. I think my main issue with it is the longevity of it, because of lack of recovery or like wish pass support. None of these mons are good options besides Articuno. Thing has like Pain Split, but that's not. I think it's going to be a sweeper get swept kind of team, and that's the kind of player that I'm for it. He can't play the long game with this. I think this team is. Oh, Arcanine has more Excel. But I don't think he's going to be good at playing the long game with this. I think he's got to take a commanding lead into mid-game if he wants to win this team. Last three on this row. Wow, okay. What am I at? 34? Okay, I think we're okay. Last three on this row, and then there's one. Teams. Detroit Dragons. Don't know who the coach of this is off the top of my head. See Diancie, Salamence, Torracat. I remember somebody talking about how they picked Torracat and talking about how it's going to be a decent tech against some teams, and I can see it. It's got Intimidate, Parting Shot, and I don't think it's not. It's got some cool things it can do on. Scizor, always a really good mon, especially without HP Fire. And his fire switch-ins are many fire switches. Almost the whole team switches into fire. This is a very offensively oriented team. Very offensively oriented team. The point of this is to get up rocks and get up your hazards, keep your opponent's hazards off. See? And then Bolt switch around, switch U-turn with like Scizor and put him. Then he's got some like endgame sweepers with Salamence and like Sharpedo. My issue with this is that it has a couple of mons that rob momentum, and I don't think that fits this playstyle. So for instance, I think this does not super belong here. I don't love Charizard on this squad either. I mean, I guess you can run like a belly drum set. I think you also get belly drum or DD set. Doesn't have Sun to take advantage of solar power. Yeah, I think my advice would be to get more turners and switchers to try to just play into that, because I think you have a very offensive team. I think you should play more into that offense to have momentum. I think that would be useful for this squad, because I think you're bouncy, and that's, I mean, you got Swampert. Play Swampert, you can play Choice Band Swampert or something, but that, again, that wrong read. I don't love the squad. I think it's okay. I don't think it's gonna. Some of these, I think, past couple, I think will under. I really liked the. So far, I liked the very first squad. San Francisco Arcaniners, I think, would be 2. And these last couple, I think, I don't expect very big things from them throughout the season based on the teams. I think the synergy is not super clear, but I am excited to be proven wrong if they want to do that to me. I think that would be really cool. Apple Bottom Aldinos. This is a coach that I know is a very good coach, and so he wins a lot, but let's see if his team provides him the opportunity to win a lot. Latios got Mystical Fire this generation. Very good sets. Love Latios. He's got his sand. He loves his sand. Very offensive. This is definitely offensively oriented team. This is HO. This is definitely HO. He's going to set up sticky webs. He's going to go for sand sweeps. Absol does not take any hits, but it's powerful. Huge set variety. Massive, like incredible set variety. Especially for draft, which is really good. Special and physical, but main issue is that doesn't switch in very well. I think he needs, again, more like switchers, U-turners for the strategy that he's going for, but he's got, I know he loves Colossal. He used Colossal last round, and it was really good at getting up hazards. It's good at rapid spinning them off as well. It's incredibly bulky. I was surprised at how amazing it was. But I really think his strategy is to get up webs, get up hazards, and overpower the team. But I think some of these mons might be difficult to with, like, I guess Oranguru is for Trick Room. Doesn't really have too many mons to take advantage of Trick Room. Aquanade is pretty good. Jolteon is good, but doesn't, especially without Hidden Power Ice, can definitely get without this gen a lot easier than Decidueye. Decidueye is very scary. SD sets are powerful. Latios is very scary. Sock. Offensive team, I think he can make some switches to get better HO. I know what he's going for. I think he can get more team synergy. HO oriented. It's that because I think a lot of teams will be switch into some of these hits and then get back. I don't think he has great switches for those hits, so I think he has to have more of an offensive more of an offensive presence, more setup mons, better speed tiers to really take advantage of the playstyle that he's going for. But I think he can put together a very scary 6. I think he can put together a very scary 6, but I think there are some changes that I know he likes to make trades throughout the season too, so I think he'll make some trades that will make his team a little more offensively scary. This team looks very cool. I like the look of this. Gardevoir plus Dragapult. I want a Steel type on there. I want to see a Steel type on there, and then I would like this a lot more. I like the idea though. I think this is a really good start. That is, Gardevoir actually has Wish Pass, and very bulky. Dragapult is incredible typing, defensive typing and offensive typing. And if he had a Steel type on here, I think he'd have a really scary core. 3. Lungus, good pivot. Miltank, very bulky. Some fast ones. I'm sorry, I've been talking a lot. Okay. These are the first time I'm looking at a lot of these teams as well, so I'm looking through these with you. Obstagoon, very scary. I think Miltank sets rocks. Aerodactyl sets rocks. I love, like, the thing is, I love some of the mons on this team, but I think he should go a little more. Oh, is that Corviknight? Oh my gosh, he does have a Steel type. Never mind. Okay. Throw everything out. I did not. Whenever these mons have like a small picture, I don't see them. And then like my analysis is super off. Gardevoir, Dragapult, Corviknight. Incredible. Very cool. I was trying to think of like what Steel type could he get that's in like a low tier to not completely shift his team. You guys were probably looking at that Corviknight this whole time and like, stupid, why don't you see it? I keep missing these small ones. I'm sorry, stop yelling. Very cool. Okay, I would say this is more defensively oriented then. This is balance. Trying to think if I like Aerodactyl on this team. So what I think he needs to do is I think he should get rid of Aerodactyl for something that can set T-spikes. Because this is a very balance-oriented team. I want to get rid of Aerodactyl and Raichu. Better hazard game, I think. Because I think he has good defensive backbones that can switch in. Gastrodon, Amogus, Flareon. Corviknight lives every hit. Gardevoir, very good. Dragapult, amazing defensive typing, amazing offensive typing. Obstagoon, really tough wall break to defend against. Aerodactyl is telling me more of like, I feel like it's more suited for like an HO kind of team. Can run bulky Aerodactyl. I've actually seen Aerodactyl on stall before, but that was for a very specific mon, and I don't know that this team really needs it because I feel like Corviknight would wall most of the mons that I'm worried about. Something like Volcarona that it might help with. You have Dragapult, which actually stops that. So I'd go Aerodactyl and Raichu. I'd get rid of those two mons and go something with T-spikes because yeah, bulky team that just switches, and but I think you can also get by with toxics and stuff. I don't know. I'm all these. I'm curious to see how they're gonna go, but I think cool at first glance. Okay, 15 minutes before we hit Heatran, Florges, and would be Core. Heatran or Florges, Heatran. Love that. Noivern can switch in as a Dream Core. Fairy Dragon Steel covers a lot defensively. Florges Heatran is really what I think you should be building this team around. I don't like Claydol as a mon. Claydol hater. I love Claydol as a mon. I think it's a mon, but I don't personally like using it because I feel like it kind of beyond Gen 3 OU, it kind of just like completely dropped off because it's not powerful enough to keep up with the metagame. If they gave it recover, like that big issue is that it doesn't have great recovery to become like this defensive presence. So it needs to have something else. It can rapid spin, but like it robs momentum because it doesn't have an offensive presence and doesn't have this defensive presence because it doesn't have recover. But you have Florges to help it get the spins off. I think that will go a long way. And other mons similar like that. Oh, you also have Umbreon to pass Wishes. So I see like some really good defensive mons that almost look like they could be like semi-stall. I see kind of semi-stall mons, and then I see Anka's a Wall Breaker, Toxtricity, and Gyarados to set up and sweep at the end. Frizzion's always a really good all-around pick. I like that. Mega Banette helps really good. Helps a lot against HO. I think this is honestly more of a balanced playstyle with trying to hide some win cons in the back to try to chip down your opponent's team, and then set up like a Dragon Dance with Gyara at the end and win, or like set up a Shift Gear with Toxtricity and win. I think Hazard game. I think we need to work on the Hazard game a little bit because Heatran is good rocker. Claydol setting up rocks allows like a really free switch, in my opinion. So you let something dangerous in and then like Dragon Dance, and then you have a lot harder of a time walling it again with your team. Of course, you have Mega Banette, which helps with deterring that because like Prankster, Destiny Bond, and Shadow Sneak, and Will Spin Off. But I'd be afraid that some of these mons can be taken advantage of, especially when you have multiple on the same team. I think like having one of them is pretty good sometime, but I think together like they just don't have enough of an offensive presence unless you wanted to go like very like a heavier stall. So I think he will have that problem trying to decide between offensive and defensive building. Maybe get rid of Claydol and Umbreon, and you get a tier 3 dragon, and get better rockers for tier 4. I don't know. I think a lot of these teams, people start realizing more what they want to do as they start building. We'll see. Next team, Waterloo and Foos. Zapdos Ring. Totally, in my opinion, just absolute bonkers. You have to offensively check it, or you better have like a Chansey or something to switch in, because Weather Ball, Thunder, Hurricane. To stomp teams, Tornado's Eye to help keep the rain up and hit those hurricanes. Lots of good hurricane mons on here. Quillfish. There was a very cool SD Explosion Quillfish Rain team in Gen 7 that somebody built. Like little Lucario might have built it or something. But it was a very, very good team. And I think Quillfish in Rain, I think people set up for spiking. I think it will be very catch people with that Quillfish. And then we have Fairy Dragon Steel with Megalteria Ferrothorn. So I have another Comfy. I think this is a very good looking team. I think this is a good rain team. Talonflame switches in grass types to take care of grass types. But you also have so much Hurricane that I don't think grass is going to be. How do you deal with waters? With bulky waters, you Zapdos and Eldegoss is not a super helpful option, but SD Explosion can break Seismitoad offensively or defensively. Full rain team, I think you need more options though. I think what would I say? I can't think on the top of my head. You have good hazard control. Is Tornadus? Yeah, Tornadus gets defucked. Yeah, really good hazard control. I think this is a team that I think this will win a lot of games. I think, especially against a team that doesn't have really good options to defend this, this will win games. I think where it will struggle the most is teams that can get in a strong wall break, more passive mons. If they can pull out some of your better sweepers and like take out, so like you want to keep Pelipper alive because Pelipper is your rain setter, but like if they get in, say, Tapu or Pelipper, and then switch to Ferrothorn, switch in Alolan, hopefully maybe in rain you can't, I don't know, I think it'll work. I think it'll, I think Ferrothorn really glues this together. Without, if you take Ferrothorn out, I think this struggle against a lot more. So hold on to that Ferrothorn. I think it's going to be important to play that Ferrothorn strong, and don't sack your rain sweepers, because this is very scary to play against Dragoness Mega Altaria as well. So lots of good win cons on this team. Lots of good rain options, really good wall breakers, and then Ferrothorn is busted to break. Let's see, some HO with Steelix and Tangela. Okay, so Tangela is kind of like Tangrowth in Pivot. You pivot in with Relate Tangela with Regenerator, give a Sleep Powder to something off items, and then you switch into your other sweepers. You got Necrozma, Volcarona, sweepers. Hariyama, Granbull, don't love. I think they're too slow for this team. Actually, Hariyama, a Granbull, don't love. I think Granbull you can give some. I think you should, with Granbull, you should draft something that gives you more, like a U-turner. Sure. Not saying Granbull's an awful mon, but just on this team. Glalie is probably your lead, set up spikes and explode. Steelix, I think you want a more offensive rocker, because I think a lot of things come in on Steelix and could probably default, can probably take advantage of that, so I think you'd want an offensive rocker, Steelix. So I think Steelix, Granbull, out the door, and and this is, you know, some newer players will see Zygarde, Steelix, Granbull, Fairy, Dragon Steel. That's not a Fairy, Dragon Steel, or because Zygarde doesn't switch into attacks. Steelix can be part of that core, one of those cores, but you need like a Fairy type with Wish support, and then like especially on the specially defensive side, Granbull, Steelix, and Zygarde just get blown away. They don't cover each other's weaknesses nearly as well as you would expect. I think you'd need like Aromatisse or something. But that's not, Aromatisse is not for this team. This is an HO team. Swirlix can set up sticky webs, and that's why, since this is a HO team, I think you should get rid of Steelix. I think you should get rid of Granbull. Maybe think about changing Hariyama is enough of a wall breaker, especially with Sticky Web up, that I think it's good. Necrozma, lots of cool sweeping sets. Volcarona, obviously very busted. Zygarde, very busted. Same attack as the Zygarde, 50%, but faster, so you just run Choice Band, or if you can, maybe a screener. Oh. I know what this team needs. Electrode is probably tier 4, or tier 5. Out with Granbull, get Electrode in here. Incredible screener. It's like a budget Lele for budget Coco for screens. You set up Reflect, you set up Light Screen, and then you Volt Switch out or you Explode. So you're super fast, you keep momentum with switching out, and then you have screens to set up Zygarde and Volcarona. That would be a very scary team. Trade Granbull, Electrode, and much better looking team in my opinion. Kingdras, we got Blissey offense. Volbeat can ton pass Tail Glows. Who would you want to pass Tail Glows to? You would want to pass Tail Glows to Volcanion would be the main recipient. Celebi could, but Celebi can nasty plot on its own. Blissey honestly could be a really scary thing to pass Tail Glows to, but it's also really slow. Small defense, so people will be able to revenge kill it, depending on the team that you're playing against. Raikou could be decent, but it loses Ice. I don't think it's a... Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really think it's tier 2 in this generation without HP Ice, because I don't think it gets Weather Ball. I don't think it gets Energy Ball. I think it's gonna have a hard time bringing ground types. But Garchomp, Mega Mawile, and no Fairy type, that's fine. Sometimes I look for these cores, but you don't necessarily need these cores. You don't need this to be a good team. I'm just looking to see if there are these cores. Let's see which passes into a lot on this team. Very bulky. Hazard Game, pretty good with... Yeah, Hazard Game, good with rocks. A lot of rockers on the team. Well, Crobat's a really good removal. Volbeat, I think, might get Prankster Deep, but I'm positive. I personally would say get rid of Lycanroc. Actually, no, Lycanroc. I feel like Lycanroc midday is good on offensive teams. I think this is slightly oriented, though. I think Lycanroc is better on more HO teams. I think with that you can get another room, because besides Crobat you don't have any room. So I think your team will really struggle against hazards. I think pretty powerful. Some mons that will just invalidate some teams. Like teams that rely heavily on special attacking. Blissey could be very scary. Single-handedly them, and then Mega Mawile bust through teams. And then Volcanion, you got some really good wall breaks, but I think you will struggle with hazards. But Heavy Duty Boots really helps Crobat. Just got to make sure they don't have something that can kill your Crobat or discourage defogging. If Volbeat gets defogged, that's a little bit better, but you have to Volbeat to every game, even necessarily want to baton pass. You also don't have very many strong special attackers that really benefit from the baton pass. I think like Celebi doesn't need it. It's got nasty plot. Volcanion is... Raikou could... I think is going to get walled by ground types, and you could run special Garchomp. That could be an option, but you get SD Garchomp anyway. I think you should get rid of Lycanroc for something that can rocks and strong fast special attacker maybe. Just an idea. I'm not positive on that, but I think... Let's see. Darn Galar, not allowed to run the Gorilla Tactics. It's got to be the Zen mode. Crazy strong offensive mons. Houston Heracross. Yep, that's what I'd expect. Yeah, Xurkitree doesn't have the this gen, which is be thankful. Ren sets up spikes. Oh, it's also not pretty, and Gren it is, or Battlemon, it's Torrent Gren. I think Larian might get rocks, I'm not positive though. Mudsdale gets rocks. Removal options are Latias and Togetic. Togetic doesn't belong to this team. Togetic is also Galarian Corsola doesn't belong to this team. This is a very HO team that I'm looking at, and Corsola and Togetic both really rob your momentum. They pivot into things well, but then trying to pivot back out is where they are going to struggle. Does Togetic get teleport? If Togetic gets teleported, better, but I don't like Togetic and get Corsola on this team. Mudsdale's okay. I can see Mudsdale on this team. Offensive presence is really strong. Yeah, Medicham will bust through most mobs, and then you can set up something. I think speed's gonna be a problem as well. I think this team really loses to Scarf. Scarf kinda messes this up. Galarian, Demandatan, very scary, but again, all these are really gonna lose to Scarf. So I think Togetic and Togetic and Corsola gotta go. Pick up some better pivots to bopped by Scarf, something that can switch out its own, and preferably with a defog, better hazard game, well, and setting. I think that's what you need to do with those two mons, in my opinion. Brooklyn Drills. Nearing the end, you can see only two more, and then my team that I already showed you. Brooklyn Drills. Oh, this is getting over now. Mega Venusaur, Celesteela, Infernape, Jellicent, Avalugg. I like this team. Quagsire on the team. Actually, this is looking a little bit confused by what it's supposed to do. So I see a lot of this is. Let's see. I see some like semi-stall, but not great semi-stall. I see like some more balance-oriented mons that look like they're trying to be thrown into a semi-stall combat. Like Venusaur, Celesteela are pretty good pivots for offensive teams, or they work well on balance. But then I see something like Quagsire, and I feel like you're semi-stall, but like Avalugg, Jellicent, Quagsire, Celesteela, or it's going to have things that can that I believe. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't have good enough recovery options to be semi-stall, but it doesn't have enough offensive presence to apply very much pressure. With that. Rest of the mons, oh, Sylveon. Vikavolt I don't like on this team because it's I mean, I guess you have as a ball breaker, but I feel like if you're going to spend 100 on Vikavolt, you want to get mileage out of sticky webs and things that can take advantage of sticky webs. Haxorus, Malamar. Guess you can try to take advantage. Like you can use offensive Celesteela sets. Fernape can. Malamar is okay. I mean, some teams Malamar will cut through like a knife through hot butter, but some not so much. Haxorus, very scary. Sylveon, not really something that needs webs necessarily as well. It's not really, its goal isn't really to like outspeed, it's to like calm mind up and like outlast the opponent. But I mean, okay, coach for this is very creative, tends to take these mons and run them much more offensive than you expect him to. So I see Choice Specs Sylveon on webs. That's what I'm thinking he's gonna run some of these ones. I would say to go more offensive, I'd throw out some of these mons and I'd throw out Quagsire, and I'd get a more... No, I kind of like Mega Venusaur. I think a more offensive water type too, maybe. Because I know how this coach plays, and I think this is not his style of team. I think he wants something with more power, and I think he's going to be disappointed with the power that a lot of these mons. Bellossom also, I think, got to go. I think Mega Venusaur covers a lot of that, and I think, again, Tier 5 with more offensive presence. Finally, last team. I'm sorry, this is getting so long. Anaheim Magnemite Ducks. It's a funny team name. Zard Y, or Zard X, Primarina, and Metagross with Licky Wish support. Very scary. Lando T. Solid BO options. Can run Galvantula, can run Calm Mind. So for like a webs team, Lando T can be a good offensive explosion rocker plus Galvantula for webs, and then sweep with maybe, I think Zard gets SD, so maybe SD Zard rather than I might be wrong. I think it also gets Belly Drum. You could run Belly Drum Roost Zard, that would team. What am I thinking? I think you need other... No, Metagross has rocks and Lambo has rocks. It depends on what kind of team that you want to play, though. I think you're going to end up relegating Lando to a more rocker a lot of the time. And then on my Primarina, when I'm thinking through these teams, I try to like think through, like, if I was bringing this team to a match, what would be my strategy to win? And I think he has options, but like I said with one of those earlier teams, I think you have to have the offensive presence early in the game if you want to win. But he does have some mons that just can come out like as the 6th mon and end up like calm minding up and sweeping, like Arena, or just come out and DD with Zard. So the thing is, he has very scary mons, and then he has some mons that I don't feel like are going to see the field very much. I don't think Gogoat is going to see the field very much on this kind of team. Could run bulk up with webs. I don't know. I'm excited to see. I think it'll be a fun team to watch. I'm very curious as to what kind of playstyle he wants to go with this. More like BO oriented or Joe oriented. My advice would be, once he figures that out, try to trade some mons that will go more towards that playstyle. And then finally, my team last. My analysis probably went like this throughout the video, so if you got this far and you thought that what I was saying still made sense, thank you. I probably said a lot of stupid stuff towards the end because I've been sitting here talking for an hour straight, but I appreciate the support, and freaking have a wonderful day. Peace out, my gamer girls and boys.